I'm at a place with the delightful name of Nigg, and all I can think of is Monty Python going Nigg, 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 Nigg. This bay is full of old oil drilling platforms. So what am I looking at over here? These yellow things?
These are called jackets, and when you see a wind farm out in the ocean, that's what you don't see. They're the 3/4 there, and they're in the seabed. Yeah. And about 3/4 of them are underwater, and it's the top of them that the wood are meant to stay.
I nearly fell over then. Yeah, lovely.
The top of them's got a wind turbine on.
Where would you like to go, Tuggy? Would you like to go this way?
Maybe, but we'll try for Cromarty. Slightly over there.
Slightly over here?
Yeah.
Okay. What's this village we're coming to over here? Where are we?
Cromarty. Cromarty, in the Black Isle.
Well, why is it called the Black Isle when it's completely green?
I don't really know. Yeah.
Make it up.
Make it up. Something sounds good.
It's called the Black Isle because it is. Remind me of that last time we met.
It was in Jumping Jacks in Aberdeen.
Okay.
It was a school theme, at night. A lot of, and we all had their hats on back to front.
Good. Did you get malleted?
And I never know.
All this time he's been waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, and I had to roll up the trouser leg.
That's it?
That's it.
Great. This is something you don't see very often. An awful lot of platforms, drilling platforms, and something that looked like great big Spider-Man legs. Look closely at this and you'll see a ship that appears to be just got a frontage. Well, it is in fact a flat bottom ship, and on the back of it are 4 of those rigs which will be to support wind turbines out in the North Sea. And this is what they look like at sea. In the distance, Culloden Moor, the site of the last battle on British mainland. Down on the left, that's Fort George, built straight after the rebellion. And there used to be a ferry which connected to this side of the Black Isle, just there. Sadly, it doesn't run anymore, which is a shame. Welcome to the Point. It's a gorgeous, glorious evening. Come down here to watch the bottlenose dolphins that should turn up. Did they get the memo? Also come to watch the sun go down. It's a lovely spot. And look, there's a stone here to some famous prophesier, a chap called Braham Seer who lived in the 17th century and came up with all sorts of wonderful predictions, a bit like Nostradamus. Most of them were in rhyme. Among the things he predicted were apparently the Battle of Culloden over there, Highland clearances, even Margaret Thatcher. Ooh. But what got him most into trouble was saying something about the Lord of the Manor within earshot of the Lady of the Manor. He said, oh, the Lord of the Manor is away in Paris and he's got a few girlfriends and he's enjoying those. Well, she wasn't too happy about this, his dear wife, and so the next thing is he's tarred and feathered, and right on this spot they set fire to him. Ow! Yeah, it's a gruesome way to die. I mean, look, can't you just put him in prison or something, or just say off you go mate and don't come out with outrageous things like that? The moral of the story is if you're going to prophesy something, don't talk about the Lord of the Manor within earshot of the Lady of the Manor, or you'll end up with a stone here and a red hot fire, and ouch, it'll hurt. Where are those bottlenose dolphins now? This feels like a really big moment. I'm crossing the Kessock Bridge into Inverness. Inverness, which we always think of as really, really far north. The journey I've done, it feels really, really, really far south. Now where am I again? Ah, I'm in Narnia. I'm Timmy Mallet and I'm at Culloden Moor, the site of the last battle on British mainland. 16th of April 1746, the Battle of Culloden, between the forces of the Jacobites led by Bonnie Prince Charlie, Charles Stuart, who wants to gain the throne of Britain. He's 25 years old, good looking, intelligent, some would say slightly arrogant, and he's facing his cousin, the Duke of Cumberland, who's leading the forces over there where the red flags are. Duke of Cumberland is 25 years old yesterday. This battle lasts barely 45 minutes. The government forces are well fed, well trained, well armed. The Jacobite forces along this blue line here, they're none of those things. At the end of 45 minutes, 1,500 Jacobites are lying dead or dying on Culloden Moor. Barely 50 of the government forces perish. It's an utter defeat for Bonnie Prince Charlie. He flees the battlefield and his aim to gain the throne of Britain ends in ignominious defeat. Looking across at the government forces arrayed before them, the Jacobite artillery fires the first shot. The Jacobite artillery is utter rubbish. The shots barely reach halfway. Immediately the government forces respond with their own really good guns, lots more of them. And the Jacobite men waiting here for the order to attack are cut down in their droves. The government forces are only a couple of 100 metres away as the Jacobites begin their charge. Shouting, yelling, screaming, they tear down towards the government forces who have fixed bayonets and are ready to repel them. The Jacobite forces, facing those horrible cannon, firing grape shot and bits of shrapnel, broke through the government front line but were forced back with terrible consequences. The weather that day was much as it is today. Cold, grey, wet. Nobody can deny the Jacobites' determination to fight fiercely to the end. Even Bonnie Prince Charlie was prepared to fight to the bitter end himself. He would have preferred to have died gloriously in battle. He had to be dragged from the battlefield by his generals. It was then that he issued the order, every man for himself. The rebellion is over. He went back to France and Italy, blaming everybody but himself, and drank himself into an early grave. Meanwhile, for the Duke of Cumberland, this was his finest hour, his greatest victory. He died not many years later, before Bonnie Prince Charlie, from gout. Over celebration, some might say. This is Cawdor Castle, home of Macbeth, as Shakespeare wrote it. So Shakespeare wrote about Macbeth being the Thane of Cawdor. Now the Thane is like the Lord of Cawdor, and he lived here. Built this castle squillions of years ago when I was young and you were even younger. Probably around about 1350 or something like that. It's got these lovely big towers up there, and the great thing about it is not this portcullis here, but the front door. The front door's on the first floor. Why? Is to know Macbeth's gun is still here. Ooh, there's Macbeth's millstone. That's his front door. So if you climb up and get in, almost immediately there's a trapdoor, and you go through the trapdoor and you end up plop in the dungeon. And you land in a dungeon right down here, and next to the dungeon is the toilet. So it's an ensuite dungeon! Now this gorgeous bedroom is clearly where Macbeth would have slept. He's got curtains on the wall. Why would you put curtains on the wall? Because he could. He's got another curtain here with a piece of protective glass in front of it, just in case the sunlight damages it, I would imagine. And here is his bed. You'll notice, by the way, very important, that it's got red drapes around it. Out, damned spot! That's Lady Macbeth trying to do the laundry here and not getting the red out. Ooh! These are the sorts of stairs you imagine some dastardly deed being done on. I mean, that would be a great place to commit a murder, wouldn't it? And you get down into the dungeon and then you find this extraordinary thing. A tree in the cellar. What's that doing there? This tree is older than the castle. It's brilliant. It's carbon dated back to 1370 doodah, which is squillions of years old. And the story goes that they wanted to build it really importantly, and he had a dream that a donkey with a pot of gold would lie down. That's where he was going to build the castle. He'd lay down next to this holly tree. It's a brilliant story. We made it up ourselves. Ooh, that's a good motto. The motto of Macbeth, be mindful. And that means, of course, watch out. Watch out, because it's said that Cawdor Castle is haunted with the ghosts of witches. Really? Real witches?
When shall we three meet again? On the bus, the bike, or on the train?
Come along this nice flat road here. I'm going to go this nice flat road here. But I've stopped for this sign. It's a great signpost. We've got Cloddy Moss. Now that's got to be a place to go and visit, isn't it? Cloddy Moss. Love it. But this signpost marks a really important boundary. It's the end of my adventure in the Highlands. Oh, I don't believe it. I've been in the Highlands since before I was born. That's what it feels like. It's weeks and weeks ago when I came out of the Isle of Mull and crossed over on the ferry to Ardnamurchan and Lochinver. And it's been highlands and hills and wild weather ever since. And now, leaving the lovely Highlands, which are completely flat, and entering gorgeous Moray, which is even flatter, guess what? There's no wind. No wind at all. It's utterly lovely. Cloddy Moss is my destination, and all I can say is thank you to the lovely people of the Highlands for making me so welcome and for making it such an utterly brilliant adventure. I'm in the town of Forres in Moray, and as you can see, it's very proud of its Britain in Bloom entries. In fact, it's won squillions of times. UK winners, Scottish winners, small town Scottish winners since 1979, and Britain in Bloom silver gilt winners, Entente Floreal Europe gold medal winner, and the Britain in Bloom champion of champions in 2012. I mean, this is just brilliant. I love it. This town is proud of being a champion town, and so it should be. It's got lots of colour, lots of blooms, and it's a gorgeous place to be.